How often do you think about whether extraterrestrial intelligence exists? Is there life beyond our planet? Throughout the entire time that ufology has existed, researchers have been chasing the Holy Grail, tangible evidence of aliens' presence on Earth. Let's dig in and look for evidence together. There may be artifacts or items left by aliens here on Earth. Let's take a look at some of the most mysterious alleged extraterrestrial objects. They raise more questions than they answer. Sometimes it feels like aliens left artifacts in the distant past for reasons we just don't understand. Scientists all over the world, from Polynesia to China, are facing mysteries that stump even the most experienced researchers. Why do military archaeologists ignore these questions and dismiss ufologists' theories? Let's dive into this by discussing artifacts that might indicate the presence of more advanced civilizations on Earth. One of these mysteries is a strange structure found on the ocean floor off the coast of Antarctica. In the 1960s, Antarctica was seen as a world that had come from another planet. It was a distant, isolated, and cold continent that seemed completely inhospitable to life as we know it. To explore this forbidden region, the U.S. National Science Foundation created a unique floating structure in 1962, the USNS Eltanin. It was a cutting-edge technological laboratory, the world's first specialized Antarctic research vessel. The team of researchers made numerous discoveries and significantly expanded our knowledge of this region. They found something in these hidden corners that later turned into real mysteries. In August 1964, the research vessel USNS Eltanin discovered a mysterious object on the ocean floor. It was located west of Cape Horn and resembled an artificial radio antenna with symmetrical knots, spokes, and protrusions that ended in a spherical tip. The unusual discovery was immediately noticed by ufologists and researchers. They called it the Eltanin antenna and speculated that it was an alien artifact. At that time, there were many theories, ranging from a part that fell off a ship to a secret Russian project and even alien intervention. There were speculations about unknown plant life. But marine biologists were skeptical due to the lack of sunlight. In the end, the object remained a mystery. And since it was deep underwater, getting to it was impossible. It's hard to tell what this mysterious artifact is based on just a few photos. Could it be an anomalous sea sponge that somehow made its way there on its own? Or could it be something else? On the island of Nukuhiva, which is part of the Marquesas Islands in French Polynesia in the Pacific Ocean, there are mysterious statues that baffle even the most experienced archaeologists. These statues depict gray aliens, beings with human bodies and reptilian heads. They have huge round eyes and mouths that are positioned very low. The locals on the island know nothing about the statues or the people who created them. Over thousands of years, the people who inhabited the island have changed, and the history of the indigenous people remains a mystery. All of this raises a lot of questions for researchers. The island is literally dotted with numerous ancient statues depicting mysterious humanoid beings. In any case, it's clear that the creators of these statues couldn't have just made them up on their own. In the heart of Nukuhiva, like a pearl in the ocean, lies the settlement of Temihiatoa. Here, on this land, archaeologists made an amazing discovery. The first statues that blew their minds. These statues seemed like a message from the past. A big head with huge eyes, short limbs, and a disproportionately long body. Every detail of these ancient sculptures holds a mystery that is yet to be unraveled. In 1992, while conducting research in the Indonesian province of Kapanga, a geologist named Castillo discovered a stone in the Cave of Satan that might represent an ancient star map. The stone had symbols etched into it that resembled the information placed by Americans on the anodized aluminum plaques of the Pioneer 10 and Pioneer 11 space probes. The stone, like the plaque, depicted a man and a woman holding hands, along with the sun, stars, and symbols in the form of dots and arrows. Geologists suggest that the stone was processed a very long time ago, several 100,000 years ago. Conspiracy theorists are convinced that aliens managed to receive a message from the probe, decoded the map, and visited Earth. But for some reason, they missed by a couple 100,000 years and got stuck in the past. Maybe there was someone highly advanced living in Indonesia back in ancient times. After all, the map depicts a star system similar to ours. Perhaps in ancient times, someone highly developed lived on the territory of Indonesia. After all, the map depicts a star system similar to ours. It has 1 star and 7 planets. Even though we know about 8 planets in the solar system today, it's worth remembering that not too long ago, Neptune was considered just an asteroid and was excluded from the list of full-fledged planets. In any case, the knowledge of ancient people is truly impressive. Many supposed artifacts of extraterrestrial origin are linked to ancient civilizations. One of the most mysterious and great civilizations on Earth is the Inca Empire, which was located in the Andes Mountains in what is now Peru. In the 14th and 15th centuries, the Inca Empire was one of the most powerful and renowned civilizations. It covered a vast area, including part of Ecuador and southern Chile. For centuries, this great civilization thrived, but with the arrival of Spanish conquistadors eager for gold, it vanished, leaving behind only mysteries and enigmas. So far, there are no records left about the culture and way of life of the Incas. They became one of the most mysterious ancient empires. But despite all the mysteries, some of them are more obvious than others. Sometimes, unusual artifacts are discovered that raise questions and need to be unraveled. One of these mysterious artifacts is a monolithic stone, which still remains a puzzle for scientists and researchers. Even though the Incas didn't leave behind written records, they did leave behind grand structures. Temples, citadels, fortresses, massive walls, and roads, all of this was built from huge stones that were somehow moved and perfectly set without any mortar. The methods of construction are still a mystery. Besides the architectural mysteries, there are other oddities related to the Incas. One of them is located in the Abancay province of the Apurimac region in Peru. In 1908, Italian archaeologist Luigi Pernier was excavating at the old palace of Festos on Crete. There, he discovered a clay disc, which turned out to be one of the most mysterious archaeological curiosities in Greece. On both sides of the disc, there's a spiral pattern made of hand-drawn lines, and inside those lines, there are groups separated by vertical marks, engraved with 45 different symbols. A total of 242 characters. Each of them was pressed into the clay separately before firing. In some places, you can see signs of erasure and repressing. The signs are mostly pictographic. Human figures, faces, animals, fish, dolphins, or cattle. Boats, plants, and trees, as well as less distinguishable mysterious symbols. In addition, the disc has dashes, slanted lines, and dotted lines. This unusual find is also interesting because the symbols don't resemble any of the known ancient languages of Crete. They don't match any of the Bronze Age scripts found on the island. Archaeologists can't figure out what these signs mean and why they're arranged in a spiral on this mysterious disc. In 2016, in one of the caves in Peru, researcher Brian Foster discovered a mummified skull of an unknown humanoid. This unusual find is a bone covered with thick brown skin. The skull is elongated, with a small facial area. The creature has large round eyes, a small chin, and a tiny mouth. The researcher himself is convinced that he has found the head of an alien being. However, other scientists doubt the authenticity of the find. While the skull was handed over to American scientists for research, debates online have already flared up about what this creature could be: an alien, a mutant child, or an animal. The verdict from the American scientists was unexpected. The DNA of the humanoid was previously unknown to Earthlings. This humanoid creature is very different from Homo sapiens or the Denisovans. In 1938, Chinese archaeologist and Professor Chiputi discovered an underground network of tunnels, caves, and caverns in the Bayan-Kara Lula Mountains, on the border of China and Tibet. In this underground world, the expedition members allegedly discovered pictograms depicting star systems. the sun and the moon, graves of tiny humanoids about a meter tall with huge heads. There were also strange objects half buried in the ground around. More than 700 perfectly round discs with 2 grooves and a hole in the center, forming a double spiral, were discovered by researchers. Inside the spirals were tiny hieroglyphs of an unknown type. They could only be seen through a magnifying glass. These discs were supposedly locked away in a storage at Peking University for decades, until in 1960, Chinese archaeologist Sima Mui took a look at them. He claimed that he managed to decipher them, and that they tell a story about visitors from the stars. Nui claimed that the discs contain information about a spaceship that crashed in the mountains. On board was a crew of alien beings known as the Dropa. After the crash, they had to seek refuge in the mountains and adapt to life on Earth by creating tunnels and caves. Do you trust Nui that this is an artifact from aliens, time travelers, or something else? The answer remains a mystery. There are indeed ancient artifacts in the world that are hard to classify definitively. Another one of those mysterious objects was found in 1885. In the year, workers at the foundry in the Austrian town of Wacklebruck. The purpose of this object was a mystery. The strange cube was sent to the Salzburg Museum, where it was examined by Austrian physicist Carl Goerls. He found out that the object was made not of iron, but of an unusual alloy of steel and nickel. Later, researchers concluded that it was indeed wrought iron. Subsequent studies led to the conclusion that the object, whatever its nature, had too perfect a shape and was made of excessively pure metal to consider its appearance a result of a natural process. For example, the fall of a meteorite. Most likely it was created with the help of a machine and might have been part of a larger device or system. However, it's currently impossible to determine what type of device it might have belonged to. What was the mysterious object found in a piece of coal that's tens of millions of years old? Was it part of some kind of mechanism? It's hard to say, since the Salzburg cube disappeared, leaving behind only a message from the 19th century. Maybe it was lost, mislabeled, or even stolen. We only know that it existed. But without modern scientific analysis, we're probably never going to find out what it really was. Is it evidence of the existence of mysterious technologies from ancient civilizations? Is it proof of the presence of aliens in prehistoric times? Are they time travelers or the result of unknown natural phenomena? Who knows? Stig Egberg and Harris Joberg were driving in their car on the island of Vadö, which is located in Sweden, northwest of Stockholm. Suddenly, they spotted a strange object ahead that looked like a flattened sphere. It seemed like it was going to fly right past. But suddenly it sharply changed direction and headed straight for them. At that moment, the engine of their car started acting weird. It coughed, sputtered, and then died. The object descended and hovered right by the road. It was so bright that it lit up everything around, like the sun. The frightened people were watching it as it got brighter and brighter. There was a smell in the air, kind of like ozone and burnt insulation. Maybe it was one of those mysterious artifacts that connect to UFOs. 10 minutes after this mysterious incident, the object shot up into the air and disappeared in the direction it came from. The car came back to life. Curious witnesses went to the spot where the object had hung and discovered something amazing. The grass was neatly leveled and burned. But the strangest thing was that on the ground lay a shiny object, resembling a triangular piece of metal, about the size of a matchbox. It was hot to the touch and heavier than you would expect. The men decided to take the strange artifact and bring it to Saab, the company that makes airplanes, for analysis. They concluded that the object was made of carbide, tungsten, and cobalt, and was definitely an artificially created object, not a natural stone. However, it has no apparent common use. What happened to this object later is unknown. We can only guess what it was. Perhaps it was some kind of cargo dropped by a UFO, but if so, what was it? I hope these artifacts made you think about a lot of things. I believe you learned a lot of new and interesting things. Do you want to amaze and delight people? Join our team. We create content that inspires. If you know how to edit videos, voice over clips, or write interesting scripts, we'd love to have you on the team. Message our Telegram bot and let's make the world brighter together.